On Monday, I talked about how bad this Peng Shuai situation is, how horrifying it is. Quick primer, if this is the first you're hearing of it, Peng Shuai, star tennis player from China, accuses a top-ranking Chinese official, former, of sexual assault via Chinese social media. Weeks later, she's reported missing by the Daily Mail. Later that night, the New York Times confirms with WTA CEO and Chairman Steve Simon that after multiple attempts to contact Peng Shuai, the WTA had been unsuccessful. We wanted to hear from Peng Shuai. We wanted to know that she was okay. Unfortunately, our worst fears have since been confirmed about the situation. Now, I was also concerned that the WTA was going to stay silent here in an attempt to preserve their relationship, their business relationship with China. And I have been impressed, pleasantly surprised, delighted, relieved, all of those things to see that Steve Simon and the WTA have not been afraid to speak out and to speak up about this situation and to stand up to China and demand assurance of the safety of their player at any cost. And yes, Steve Simon has said that the WTA is willing to risk China backlash and business to do, quote, what is right. And thank goodness that the WTA has taken that stance, because only after the WTA went on all of their official channels and on their website and said, without actually confirming that Peng Shuai was missing in the original statement, because it hadn't been clear that she was. Remember, there were a lot of question marks about this on Monday. We did not have any solid information because the Daily Mail article had no sourcing, no attribution of the information. And Steve Simon hadn't heard from her, but we didn't really know what was going on. It could have been a multitude of things. Our fear was that the Chinese government had somehow kidnapped her, had abducted her, or that she was basically under the control of them, and that's why we hadn't heard from her. That's the fear. But we didn't have any real confirmation that that was happening. But the WTA said in a statement that Peng Shuai deserves to be heard and her sexual assault allegations need to be addressed in China, and that the WTA is concerned about her safety and that censorship is not okay. That statement said all of those things. It never said she was missing. But China was so triggered by the WTA talking about these Peng Shuai allegations that they responded via their state-affiliated media. And their response was an attempt to do two things, was to get us to stop worrying about Peng Shuai's safety, and it was also an attempt to strike down the allegations that Peng Shuai brought against the former vice premier in China. Fortunately, the attempt by Chinese state-affiliated media was so pathetically bad that we now know exactly what's going on, at least it feels we do, when it comes to Peng Shuai. And unfortunately, it confirms our worst fears about this situation. CGTN, China state-affiliated media, says, quote, Chinese tennis star Peng Shuai has sent an email to Steve Simon, the WTA chairman and CEO. CGTN has learned. The email reads, hello, everyone. This is Peng Shuai. Regarding the recent news released on the official website of the WTA, the content has not been confirmed or verified by myself, and it was released without my consent. The news in that release, including the allegation of sexual assault, is not true. I'm not missing, nor am I unsafe. I've just been resting at home and everything is fine. Thank you again for caring about me. If the WTA publishes any more news about me, please verify it with me and release it with my consent. As a professional tennis player, I thank you all for your companionship and consideration. I hope to promote Chinese tennis with you all. If I have the chance in the future, I hope Chinese tennis will become better and better. Once again, thank you for your consideration. I mean, if this was not such a serious situation, that would be hilarious. That's how pathetic and insultingly bad that lie is. Now, there are a couple of problems with this. First of all, if Peng Shuai wanted to email the WTA, most certainly she has the means to do that via her own email address, and that she would not go through China state-affiliated media. Secondly, it seems very unlikely that all of the allegations that Peng Shuai brought against the former vice premier, that she would just say, nope, they're all untrue. Remember, her post was taken down, censored, no longer up on Weibo, and her name was also scratched from all, basically, Chinese search engines, and even the word tennis was censored. Lastly, there is a cursor between the A and the N in the second sentence of her email. Verified by myself, and there is a cursor there. When you send an email, there is not a cursor. This seems like it was typed up and screenshotted. That's the only way that there can be a cursor in the middle of one of the words, as far as I know. Regardless, this is clearly not her. And the WTA responded. Steve Simon said, and I quote, "The statement released today by Chinese state media concerning Peng Shuai only raises my concerns as to her safety and whereabouts. I have a hard time believing that Peng Shuai actually wrote the email we received or believes what is being attributed to her. Peng Shuai displayed incredible courage in describing an allegation of sexual assault against a former top official in the Chinese government. The WTA and the rest of the world need independent and verifiable proof that she is safe. I have repeatedly tried to reach her via numerous forms of communication to no avail. Peng Shuai must be allowed to speak freely without coercion or intimidation from any source. Her allegation of sexual assault must be respected, investigated with full transparency, and without censorship. The voices of women need to be heard, respected, not censored, nor dictated to." Look, Steve Simon says what we're all thinking. That email was BS. It was bullshit. And for Chinese state affiliated media to do that, again, just confirms the idea that this has nothing to do with Peng Shuai disappearing on her own accord, which unfortunately does happen sometimes in this world. But no, in fact, this seems like the Chinese government has its hands all over this situation. And that is terrifying and sinister. So what now? The WTA, again, they continue to be strong with their words. Steve Simon continues to not only say, I demand to know that Peng Shuai is safe, and also advocate for her allegation to be investigated, which I really feel is much less important than anything else here. Also, I feel that that's a hopeless request because, China's not going to actually do an investigation here, let's be real. But there seems to be I'm curious about what's next because, first of all, China's not going to take kindly to this. So I wonder what their next hand is. But on Monday, I advocated for the WTA to speak up, use their voices, to be strong, to speak out, to raise awareness, to stand up, and they have. But the longer this situation drags out, the more insufficient these press releases are. Again, kudos, credit to Steve Simon. for his words. But words are just words. What we're going to need is action, unless Peng Shuai is brought to safety. Because at this point, this is a non-negotiable consideration. So the next step is to come out and pull events. That's the next step. If this war of words is not going to bring the WTA and everyone who's concerned for Peng Shuai's safety, if that's not going to bring what we desire, what needs to happen here, then the next event is for the WTA to pull their events and to cease operating in China until the player is returned. So on Monday, I called for them to speak. On Thursday, things have only gotten worse, and it's time for action. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.